Welcome back to The Explainer. Look, I am absolutely thrilled to have you in the room today because we are diving straight into something incredibly specific, but completely make or break for your final grade valuation. We are targeting Section 5.4 of the Cambridge Mathematics 9709 syllabus, Discrete Random Variables and Probability Distribution Tables. Think of this session as your ultimate elite-level pitch prep. Whether you're feeling totally lost in the raw data or you're already fairly confident and just looking for that final top-tier polish to lock in the absolute highest marks, consider this your definitive guide. Today, we're not just reading textbooks. We are going to decode the theory, unlock the precise technical methodology, and show you exactly what the examiners, your ultimate investors, are desperately looking for when they evaluate your paper. Now, if you're wondering why we are dedicating an entire explainer specifically to this one topic, you need to listen to this direct quote. This is straight from a Cambridge senior examiner. Quote, "The difference between a B and an A star in mathematics often comes down to how well you understand 5.4. Let that sink in. That is a stark, absolute warning. The stakes here are massive. This isn't just some filler chapter you can skim over. This section is practically the ultimate testing ground for your analytical architecture. It's the battleground where top-tier A-star valuations are either secured or completely lost." To scale up your skills, we are going to follow a highly structured, time-blocked roadmap today. We'll be hitting 1. Core academic principles. 2. The method marks strategy. 3. Technical methodology. 4. Top 3 examiner traps. And finally 5. The deconstruct, solve, evaluate framework. Let's jump right into Section 1, Core academic principles. This is the foundation of ACE thinking. Okay, we need to talk about the stark contrast between a completely average, drifting response and an elite, top-band submission. The B-grade approach, it relies heavily on superficial breadth. It's what happens when a student just memorizes a bunch of formulas, prays for a standard, easy question, and pitches totally generic answers. It's a weak investment. The A-star grade approach, however, is all about analytical depth. Top-performing candidates don't just dump memorized data onto the page, they build a connected, conceptual understanding. They can take everything they know about probability distribution tables and seamlessly transfer that knowledge into completely unfamiliar, highly complex contexts. They engineer cross-topic connections. And let me tell you, that depth of structural understanding is exactly the metric examiners are heavily rewarding. Moving right along to Section 2, the method mark strategy, earning points for process. In the elite marking bands, examiners are obsessively checking your work for causal relationships. These are the precise, logical links and cross-topic connections that actually form the theoretical architecture of probability distribution tables. Cambridge Principal Examiner reports consistently highlight that candidates who clearly map out these logical, step-by-step connections in their working secure a significantly higher valuation on their paper. This is the method mark strategy in action. You are quite literally building a structured, undeniable argument with numbers, proving to the examiner that your final answer isn't just a lucky guess, but the direct result of sound causal logic. Which brings us to Section 3, Technical Methodology. The standardized sequence. Top subject specialists universally recommend deploying a strict, standardized 5-step processing sequence to engineer a professional, completely error-free response. Here is the operational flow. Step 1, identify key elements. You need to extract the exact correct data from texts and tables. Step 2, apply relevant principles. Select the precise mathematical tools for the job. Step 3, execute your analysis with crystal clear working. This is exactly where those causal relationships we just talked about need to shine. Step 4, verify your results. Ask yourself, does this probability output actually make logical sense? And finally, Step 5, present in an appropriate format. Listen, if you hardwire this sequence into your brain until it becomes pure muscle memory, you are going to drastically reduce your market risk for unforced errors. Let's shift gears to Section 4, Top 3 Examiner Traps. This is all about protecting your marks. You absolutely have to consider this next part your ultimate compliance survival guide. We audited the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports to pull these exact liabilities. These are the 3 classic pitfalls where otherwise brilliant mathematicians just hemorrhage silly points. First, using the wrong approach for the wrong context, a total mismatch. Second, forgetting to check your format and presentation conventions. We're talking proper headings, appropriate terminology, and clear annotations. If your presentation is a chaotic mess, the examiner literally cannot award you those crucial method marks. And the third, which is undoubtedly the most lethal compliance liability of all, providing generic answers that are not specific to the actual context given. I really want to pause and drill down on that last trap because it destroys so many grades.
Context is the specific, unique scenario given in the exam prompt. Every single data point you use, every assumption you make, and every analytical step you execute must directly, logically link back to this specific scenario. The absolute classic amateur mistake in 5.4 is regurgitating a raw textbook definition instead of actually applying it to the unique problems sitting right in front of you. If you give a generic, unlinked answer, the examiner's hands are tied. They cannot fund your grade with full marks. Context isn't just a suggestion. Context is absolutely everything.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the Deconstruct, Solve, Evaluate framework, your ultimate exam protocol. Think of this framework as your ultimate, heavily organized mental anchor when you're under the pressure of the clock. It's a three-phase sequence. First, you deconstruct. You identify the given information and break that massive, complex prompt into logical, bite-sized, actionable steps. Next, you solve. You execute the math systematically, showcasing those beautiful, clear working steps to firmly secure every single method mark available. And finally, you evaluate. You step back, check the reasonableness of your numbers, and make justified recommendations based entirely on the specific context of the prompt. If you run every single 5.4 question through this exact three-column machine, you are going to hit every assessment objective flawlessly.
Now, I really want to zoom in on that final evaluate phase, because this is precisely where top-scoring candidates lock in that maximum A-star valuation. You literally must question assumptions, consider different perspectives, and importantly, justify your claims with hard evidence. When you finish calculating a probability distribution table, do not just drop your pen and move on. Take a split second to critically analyze what that resulting number actually means in the real-world context of the word problem. Evaluating your own work and justifying it with clear evidence, that is the ultimate flex on a Cambridge exam. So we've broken down the architecture, and I want to leave you with this final provocative challenge. How exactly will you apply this Deconstruct, Solve, Evaluate framework to your very next Cambridge 9709 past paper practice session? Seriously, don't just watch this explainer and nod along passively. I want you to grab a past paper tonight, isolate a high-tariff 5.4 question, and force yourself to run this exact blueprint. Break it down, show your clear working, and evaluate your context. Oh, and before you go, evaluation pause. Take a second right now to subscribe to Ace the Exams and turn on those notifications so you never miss our next high-yield strategy masterclass. Drop a comment below letting us know exactly which subject you are preparing to conquer next. Keep practicing, stay incredibly structured, and I will see you next time.